Hey riders, welcome back. It's been a long time since I made a video. Having this one in the can for a little while. Just thought I'd do a quick recording here of kind of my favorite style of ride that I like to do, and a few other subjects I'd like to touch on. So this is generally how I ride on Rouvy. I pick a route. This is part of a challenge. I think it was called the Down Under Challenge or something like that. It's a very long challenge. I think there's like 8 rides to do over a 2 month period. And this challenge was really good for me just because the end of June was my daughter's graduation, getting things prepared for a gigantic after grad party at my house. Had that party, and then I took off to Las Vegas for a week, which means basically over, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, my rides were very limited. The kind of thing where I'd ride twice, take 4 days off, ride three times, take another 3 days off. Just not enough training at all. So this challenge came at just the right time. Lots of nice flat courses, all generally short, 20 to, I think there was one course that might have been 40 kilometers long, but nothing brutal. I've got this playing at 1.5 times playback speed just so we can get through the video somewhat quicker. I'm on a TT bike. I always emphasize this. Take a look at your course profile. That's on the bottom of the screen, and you can preview all of these through the Watch Other Riders mode online. And what you'll notice right away is, let's just see this person here coming up. I'm on a TT bike. This person is not on a TT bike. This course is designed to be ridden on TT bikes. Outside of this little blip that's maybe a third of the way into the course, that's the only climb on the course. There's very little climbing. This is pan flat all the way. There's just little tiny rolls. So I really like these courses. So what I do is I take a look at all the courses. I knew these were all flat. I probably download at least half of them onto my laptop. Just save it, it just gets saved into the Rouvy folder wherever it magically saves it. You don't have to do anything, remember. And I'll pop online and see when there's quite a few people riding the same course as there was today. This is not an event that I joined. This is not a group ride. This is not a race. This is not a just ride. This is just me jumping online in time trial mode with what looks like about 40 other riders or something. I think that's what the number was, 40 something riders. Now, these are all people doing their own individual rides. Maybe they're riding together, like a couple of people just join up at the same time and go. And what I like about these is you can see, the big blue dot that I am on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. I've got all these little people ahead of me that, is motivation and encouragement for me to chase after or for me to stay away from. So it's a way of keeping my brain busy as I ride. Like, okay, this person's 3 kilometers ahead of me, but they're doing 60% of my power. I'm on a flat, which my power, at the same wattage might be higher than theirs. Can I catch them? So that's kind of the thing I play with in my head as I'm doing these rides. And I like to see who's on a time trial bike, who's not. Um, I'm going to say a lot of the times when I do these rides, I think maybe 80% of the people that are actually riding a course like this aren't even on a time trial bike. The beauty of Rouvy is that when you first join up, you probably had 3 bikes to start with. Well, actually, I think there was 2 at first, just your general road bike, climbing bike type thing. And I think they were both cubes. And the time trial bike, I think it's called a Cube Arium or something like that. That was the time trial bike that I always used, and that's probably what I'm using here. Then I think they introduced a gravel bike, and just within the last, I'm going to say, month or so, they introduced some new bikes to buy. What they did was they created a new in-game currency, if you want to call it that. So you would earn coins Here's a rider I'm passing on a road bike, just doing his thing. Now, I'm going to call this out probably every time I see it. If you want to ride a road bike, that's absolutely your decision, and you can do whatever you want. If you want to ride a gravel bike down this road, you can do that too. If you want to go as fast as you possibly can to your abilities and have the optimum performance, why not pick the time trial bike? Because that's what this course is based for. Anyway, let's go back here. So in the past, you would gain coins, which would help you level up. Now what Rouvy has done is introduced a secondary coin that you earn by doing rides. Got another rider coming up here. I'm catching someone else here. And let's see what they're on. Anyways, so there's two currencies now. There's your level currency. Let's just say level coins. And there's also coins you're earning to buy stuff with. So this person's hauling along pretty good, passing them on a road bike. Okay, so, and actually I can tell here right now because when I'm looking at my XP gain right now, it's in a greenish color. And I think that's after the change over to the two currencies. So you're going to gain currencies, coins to level up. You're also going to gain coins to buy things with. And so now what they've got a bunch of new bikes. There's a specialized Shiv time trial bike, which is almost the same as the original freebie Cube TT bike, which I've used a lot. I'll be using it here because I know at this point I haven't bought the specialized Shiv. The first bike I bought was the Cervelo S5. It's a fantastic bike. It's super aero. It's super lightweight. Outside of the absolute steepest climbs on Rouvy, it's better than the hill climbing bike. Once you're doing like the 12 and 13%, like really steep, long duration climbs, I think then maybe a pure road bike would take over. But I'm riding the S5 a lot now, and it costs 50,000 coins. So I think I'm level 57, 56 on this course. I might have got to 57 now. The good thing about that is all the coins you'd accumulated so far were kind of like stashed in a bank that you hadn't been able to spend yet. So I went and bought the Cervelo S5. It was 50,000 coins. And just because I think the Specialized Shiv is a super cool looking bike, I'd love to ride one, even though it's so similar to the original time trial bike. You don't really need it, but let's just say I'm a completionist and I want to own all the best bikes. So that cost me another 50,000 coins. I think I still have over 50,000 left, 57 or something like that. And you can probably figure that out based on your level, how many coins you should have. So if they drop another really hot bike, I'm assuming it's going to be 50,000. If the S5 was 50,000, I've got the cash to buy it. Maybe they'll drop the R5, the Cervelo R5. That'd be a great bike to have. Just a pure all-out climbing bike. So you can see we're motoring along here. We're just getting, maybe a quarter way in, probably over a quarter, coming up on a third of the ride in. A lot of these courses, uh, you know, I think in the past I was really comfortable riding these right around 3 watts per kilo. And I bet you my power average is substantially less. I mean, I'm doing okay right now because it's so early in the ride, for one thing. But I'm telling you, for every week you're off the bike, I bet you it takes a month to get it back. I was in Vegas 8 days. That's a month. Before that, I think I looked at it. It was something like I trained 7 days out of 21 leading up to that Vegas trip. Just with all the things going on at home, building outside, putting up fences, getting ready for this party, the grad ceremonies, the grad dinners, me wanting to be on my game, not obliterating myself on the bike, and then barely being able to be human later in the day. So here's the one climb. This is the one climb that you got to suffer on the TT bike. So I'm at a distinct disadvantage now over the road cyclist who is on a road bike. Here's one. Looks like we got another one just up ahead of us. And this is a good little kick. This is 11% right here. So I'm feeling it. But for such a little blip, you should easily be able to hold 3 to 4 watts per kilo up this kind of like little climb. Uh, I'm just going to guess I should be able to be over 3 the whole way. I don't know. We got 2 more riders here on a road bike, and we got another road cyclist really cranking out the cadence here, just spinning, spinning, spinning. You can see my power is dropping a little bit, but still over 3 watts per kilo. Uh, and you really notice it on the TT bike. Like the hills really hit you hard. You're at a distinct weight disadvantage. So yeah, we got a little bit of 12% here. So like, yeah, this is really tough on a TT bike. Any of those road cyclists behind me, if they gave it some good effort, they could probably overtake me pretty easy. I'm only doing like 9 kilometers an hour. The good news is you can see from the profile at the top left, like the detail profile, it's starting to back off now, 10%. And then I just see, that orange, that deep orange is becoming a lighter orange, and I can see yellow at the top. And this is where I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm going to be rolling down that other side, right? Probably changing gear right here, getting back up into a bigger gear. Let's go, let's go. So I've got 2 riders ahead of me, and so there's a red rider you can see probably a couple kilometers down the road. I guarantee you, just from looking at this profile right now as I'm watching this replay, that in my head on my bike doing the ride, I'm like, I wonder if I can catch that red dot. I know that's what I'm thinking. And I'm looking at the screen right now and I can see that that person's doing just over 2 watts per kilo. So, well, that gives me something to push for. I can see that looks like they're about 3.2 kilometers ahead of me. Maybe. I'm going to have a nice downhill to chase after them. Maybe. Let's make a little game out of it, right? So flats here, I'm recovering this, we got some pretty good speed here. So I'm just going to be around 2 watts per kilo during this stuff. I find for me going downhill, I'm not going to be able to go do much more than that. Either I don't have a big enough gear or I can't spin fast enough. Yeah, heart rate's looking nice and juicy here. Yeah, so anyways, we're going to be going down this downhill. So you can see that red rider now has disappeared into that blob of white up ahead of me. So it's hard for me to see exactly how far ahead they are, but it looks like he 3.3 kilometers ahead of me right now. And now that person's pushing really hard, like over 3 watts per kilo. Looks like there's a little bump. That's why they push their power up so high. And you'll see people fall out of that little white cluster, like I just saw a green dot fall behind them. So again, this is a time trial course. So all of these Tour Down Under courses or Down Under Challenge, whatever it's called, I rode them all on the TT bike. There's nothing you needed anything else for. I mean, I guess maybe you could use the S5 if you wanted, if you just didn't want to be hurt on the hills at all, or you weren't feeling as strong and you needed a little bit of help up the hills. Again, it's all your choice, but I like to ride the horse for the course, right? So anyways, I thought I'd talk about something else here. In the last, I guess again, it's probably in the last month, the competitor, good old Zwift, has came out with the climbing portal. The climb portal, whatever it's called. Um, and I just want to put it out there first off. I did used to ride Zwift. I used to be so into Zwift. I love Zwift. Um, but obviously now I am a Rouvy rider. That's what I do. I love the the videos. I love the avatars. And for anyone that's watching that's not familiar with Rouvy, maybe this is your first time here. Maybe you're watching from Zwift, maybe Full Gas, Be Cool, RGT, all the billions of other ones that are barely cycling simulators. Um, so Rouvy's going to use videos. And in my order of preference, and I gotta think this is their preference too, the way it was designed, the AR courses. So right now, what you're seeing is a Rouvy augmented reality course. That means it's real world video filmed. There's different qualities of videos. The video may not show up very well here because I've already compressed it down. It probably looks a lot better than this. I've compressed this video down probably like 80% from its original size. Uh, Catching up with another rider here who's having a nature break. Hopefully no one saw him peeing in the woods. Um, and so the augmented reality part is the cycling avatar. Sometimes you'll see banners on the side of the road. That rider that was just having a nature break on the side of the road, or maybe they had a flat tire, we're not sure. That's an augmented reality. So that's an AR mode on Rouvy. After that, you'll see like HD, 2K, 4K videos. They're not AR, which means all you'll see is the video. You'll still have all your HUD, your heads up display, like the power and the watts, the detailed uh, ride elevation profile in the top left. You'll still have the elevation profile on the bottom. You'll still even have the dots of the riders. You just won't see the riders on the course. So a lot of times you might do a ride. Let's say I ride with a couple of really good friends on here and we're riding a non-AR course. I find the hardest thing to do is to know exactly where they are because I can't see them. I can see their dot on the bottom or I can see the split on the left-hand side, but I just can't see them. And that's my preference. I love the ARs. I will always pick an AR over every ride mode out there. If I can stay away from the HD videos, sorry, uh, the non-AR videos because they should be an HD video. We're catching a rider here. Who are we catching? Not sure yet. So it looks like the rider I've been chasing, the one I'm looking at is in red. Now they're just over 2 kilometers ahead of me. Okay, we're catching. Oh, there's 2 riders here. You got one rider here doing a road bike ride. We're catching with another one who's 75 meters ahead. Yeah, we'll let them do their thing. So yeah, you do AR rides, augmented reality, to get all this fun action. So if you were doing a non-AR ride, you will not see the other cyclists. You will see their time splits, whether ahead of you and behind you, and maybe I'm wrong, but you should see a map on the bottom with their dots because the program knows where they are on the course. It's just not creating that AR layer for you to look at. So again, this is AR mode I'm riding in. So you do AR modes, you do non-AR modes, and Rouvy even has a map mode. So there are some pretty cool courses, some pretty cool rides that are maybe part of just a map ride. And you know what? I've ridden them in the past just to say I've done a certain climb. So if you got a smart bike, a smart trainer with your bike on it, make sure you got a smart trainer. That's the key thing. Subscribe to Rouvy. You can still do those full rides. All you're going to see is like a Google map overlay that slowly spins around as you're riding the course. Sometimes I actually switch in and out of AR mode into map mode. If you look on the top right hand of the screen, um, there's the blue dot for settings, the stop button, the lap button, and right beside it, that's a folded up map. That will take you into map mode. So what it'll do, it'll just kind of give you like an overhead view of the terrain, where people are on the course. I do it sometimes in my videos just to give people something else to look at instead of just my AR avatar rolling down the road, right? And so, anyway, this long ramble I'm on about here right now is because I mentioned the climbing portal earlier, which is really cool for Zwift. And I used to love Zwift. I'm now a total Rouvy rider, hence the name of my channel. I'm a Rouvy rider. I love the videos. Again, AR is my way to go. I'll always take an AR mode over a non-AR mode. I ride the other ones too. I rode a non-AR yesterday. I've ridden map modes. Uh, So again, since I love Rouvy so much, I'm slightly biased against the Climb Portal in what it offers compared to Rouvy. The Climb Portal's great. I think I switched away from Zwift. Everything was done really well on Zwift. Like, I mean, it is pretty primo, right? The social experience, the racing, group rides of over 1,000 people which had its pros and cons. I loved riding with that many people, but the draft was ridiculous. It was so unrealistic. How do 1,000 people ride in a pack like that when 176 pros can't really do it at the Tour de France without touching handlebars, right? Zwift should have random crashes, like just, oh, no, you're out. You're done. 1,400 people can't ride together like that. But what really, I don't want to say turned me off about Zwift because it's a great product. What turned me off was that I just didn't think there was enough different climbs, enough different courses. I wanted to say that I rode in different parts of the world on real world courses, or at least the best smart representation of it. So let's just talk about climbing then. So on Zwift, you had the original KOM. I think they called it the Epic KOM on Watopia. And then what did we get? The Alpe d'Huez came along, right? I think, well, Richmond had some. Actually, that's my least favorite world. I think it's is it Austria? I forget they even call that one. There's a good climb in that one. Then the Alpe d'Huez came along, or Alpe de Zwift, which was really cool that they put it in Watopia, and I know they modeled it really well. It looks really cool. Uh, then, you know what? I never got to ride the latest one. It's kind of got a Japanese theme to it, I think, with all the temples and things like that. I never rode that. But oh, and France had Ventop, which is Mont Ventoux. So, what I would call epic climbs. Yeah, Alpe d'Huez, epic. Mont Ventoux, epic. There's your two. That's it. Whereas if you go over to Rouvy, you can ride all those real climbs. So if you're probably a hardcore cycling nut and you watch the Tour de France and you watch the Giro and you watch the Vuelta and you watch every bit of cycling you can, you know that there's other climbs. Um, there's the Gavia, there's Passo Gao, there's the Stelvio. Like, to me, that is the king daddy of the climbs. That's that they use a lot. That's pretty iconic at the Giro. Other things that's on there. There's the Luzardiden, the Col d'Aubisque, Puy de Dôme. When you look at some crazier things, there's the Monte Zoncolan. They even have the Angleroo, and just the craziest climbs from all of the Grand Tours that you'll ever see. And just Zwift didn't have that. And so I switched away from Zwift 2021, and I went from being a sub 2 watt per kilo rider to almost a 3 watt per kilo rider, because Rouvy made me do those climbs with their old leveling system, which I'm not so happy they don't have that anymore. But so it kind of forced me to do those climbs, and just the sheer variety of climbs. I want to put myself up against what the pros do. So I want to ride, all those epic climbs, the Col de Telegraph. Yeah, you can ride it on Rouvy. You can't on Zwift. The Col de Galibier, you can also ride that on Rouvy. There's all these cool Swiss mountain passes, which are gigantic. Even Mont Ventoux. Okay, so last year, I think it was last year. I mean, time flies, right? So, and I don't want to beat up on one platform over the other. They both have their pluses and minuses, right? We all know that. But if you want to climb, Rouvy is the king for that. So for Mont Ventoux, there's actually, okay, it depends on whose definition it is. So in Zwift, you have Ventop. There's your one climb up the Ventoux. But there's two really hard climbs up the Mont Ventoux in real life. I can't even pronounce the names, but they're both on Rouvy. In fact, there's a third way up Rouvy, up the Ventoux on Rouvy, but it's just kind of an offshoot that rides up the kind of like along the side of the climb and then connects onto what I would call the main climb. I think it's called Molocene, maybe. Everyone knows there's one main climb up Ventoux. That's actually Van Top on Zwift. So you have that climb on both. Rouvy has another climb that comes up kind of like the west side, and it also has one that comes up the east side and connects onto the main climb. So knowing that back then, I should have done a bit more research and homework and done all three climbs. So I called that my double Ventoux weekend. So I rode one on Saturday, one on Sunday, both pretty tough climbs. And guess what? I'm not a climber. I'm 90, 91 kilograms. So these aren't easy for me, but they're just a challenge that I like to do. So yeah, you can see here now my power's dropped quite a bit. This is not what I used to be able to do, but that's okay. This is all building me back up to start doing some climbing again. That there's a challenge I'm working on here at the very end of the month. I'm in the middle of it right now, to climb the height of Everest in a certain time. I'm not Everesting. There's no way. I don't think it's fair to make 91 kilogram riders do that kind of stuff. It's just too hard for us, right? So yeah, like I mean, I think I saw on Zwift they have the Tourmalet, they have the Puy de Dôme, and they have the Aspen. All are on Rouvy. The climb portal, it has 5 other climbs that are like, well, no one even talks about those climbs. Yeah, you know what? If I had access to them, which I haven't checked to see if they all are on Rouvy, because not everything's on Rouvy. That's a given. It has to be filmed. And then Rouvy has to take it and make it into an AR route. For me, that's how I like it. So not everything's available. Sometimes you'll find a really cool climb that's in the middle of like a nice longer ride. So it involves doing some research and homework to see, oh, I can do that climb, but I don't feel like riding 120 kilometers. Like, I don't want to do 4 mountain passes in one day. Maybe you just ride part of it to say, I did that climb. I mean, I guess that's an option. Um, I don't like how the climb portal has a schedule. I want to ride what I want to ride when I want to ride it. So today, actually, I rode one in Spain because the Vuelta's coming up here next month, I meant to say. And I found a ride called Murxido, Murxido. It's a full AR ride. It's not brutal. Um, I can't even remember the details on it now. I mean, I've just jumped off the bike, showered, and I've jumped onto this since I've been slacking. Um, it's a really great climb. I think it's only 500-600 meters of climbing. It's not very long, but there's a little set of steps 3 kilometers from the end that hit 20%. And I swear on my Tax Neo 2T, I can barely turn the pedals. It's like, I swear it's different than my old trainer, my Flux Smart. Okay, so I did catch someone here at the end. I wonder if I ever caught that guy. I really wasn't paying enough attention. I was talking too much about the climb portal. It's coming to the end of the video too. I'm trying to pump out more content, so maybe I'm going to cut this one real short here. Um, I hope you like what I'm doing here. Please subscribe and like if you can. Just even like. You don't have to subscribe to my videos. Just like it, because then it'll pump it out to someone else that can see my videos. Um, I've got a lot of good ideas for videos. I've got some great challenge videos. Some I've already talked about. Maybe they'll inspire you to do some stuff that I've done. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like. Thank you.